Good afternoon and welcome to Sports Talk. I'm Frank Noppenberger, your host, and I'm joined by Mr. Sam Mattis, who you know recently just made the U.S. Olympic team as a discus person. This July, he will be competing in the Olympics, and we all in East Brunswick wish him the best of luck. And Sam, thank you for joining us today. I know how busy you are, and we do appreciate it. So sincere good luck for the entire East Brunswick community and for East Brunswick school system.
Thank you.
All right. 10 years ago, almost to the day, I sat in here and interview. I was athletic director with you, Debbie DeWitt, and Carl Thilmore. They were seniors and you were a junior, and we were talking about your athletic career. Some of the highlights of that, as I just recently looked at, was very, very interesting. And some of them are very similar to what you're going through right now, just to catch the audience up on. One is your ever-present contagious smile, man. Whatever happens, Sam, never lose that smile. It is so cool. We asked the goals, you guys, the goals. One of your goal, and almost verbatim, you said you want to stand on the Olympic podium. I thought that was so cool that you said that. And now that I'm looking back at the tape and I remember that, I said, wow, that is so cool.
I think the highlights of my career are yet to come. I think I've accomplished a lot so far, but not as much as I want to and not as much as I know I can.
Your ultimate goal?
Ultimate goal. Hopefully one day I'll be standing on the Olympic podium.
Wow.
I'm not sure if it's going to happen. It might be a long shot, but that's my goal.
At that time, you were the #1 thrower in the United States, second in the world. We talked about you going to the Wharton School of Business. We talked about Al Order, maybe one of the most famous discus throwers in United States history, and that you were going on to the Nationals. Just like now you're going on to the Olympics. It was the next step. So I was just so impressed, and I remember all that. And it was so cool how 10 years ago, that was your goal. And we're going to talk about goal setting later. But first, a few questions. And just speak freely. Eugene, Oregon, how hot was that?
It was hot. I think I lucked out. I competed on Friday and it was like 91 to 95 degrees. I think someone got a track reading of 108 on the field.
Right.
So, it was hot. I was like gassed after my first throw. But like later that weekend it hit 113. And they had to move a bunch of events. So that was pretty crazy. Like
and we're
hot.
After you do your throws, are you expected to hang around and support, or you got to go back into training? So after you did all your throws, tell me what happens.
Yeah, so after the meet, they had us do a victory lap, which for us throwers was more of a victory walk, like a very, very slow victory walk around the track, which I was exhausted from that. I don't run too much anymore. I just throw and lift. And then from there, we went and spoke to the media a little bit and then got drug tested. And then I had to go find my coach and find my implements. And then after like 3-4 hours, finally got a meal and got out of the sun.
Wait a minute, you have to go get your own instruments?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have anyone to carry them for you? I'll carry them for you. Just let me know.
Yeah, the life of a discus thrower isn't the most glamorous athletic lifestyle, so we have to do most stuff ourselves. So.
Oh, that's cool. All right. And how many throws on that Friday did you make or have?
I had 6. So the way that the discus competition works is everybody gets 3 throws initially, and then the top 8 out of everyone get another 3 throws in finals. So I had 6 total.
That's like 6 at-bats in the major leagues or 6 swings, man. Talk about pressure, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a very mental sport because you do have to know how to handle that pressure and intensity. And really, you can't waste an opportunity because you only get 6 of them. And that's going to decide your fate for like the Olympics.
Wow, cool. But we're going to get back to the mental side of athletics and dealing with success and failure. Dealing with success to me is as important as dealing with failure. And you did hit upon that when you made that really cool video for the SAC kids for the GMC. but we'll get on that in a minute. But for the normal person out there, the non-athlete, you gave up job security at a Wall Street company to pursue a dream. Tell us about that. Talk to us about that. I mean, it's unheard of, but boy, do I admire someone that's going after their dream, because there's once in a lifetime, right? That you get this opportunity.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's probably the best decision I've ever made. At the time, and definitely like 2 years or so after, when I was really struggling in this sport, just not making much money, not having a lot of success at meets, I definitely questioned if that was the right decision and if I should have just kept working and stayed. But like you said, you really do only get this opportunity once, and I think everyone should take whatever chances that they get to take a chance and do something different, because I think you learn a lot about yourself and life and what you actually want to do, and I think that's kind of been my last 5 years.
so those 2 years maybe you were struggling. We're talking now dealing with failure. Did you have like a sports psychologist? How did you get yourself all riled up again to go after it?
I tend to just be pretty motivated regardless. Like, I definitely have struggled with the mental side of the sport and just finding motivation for training after. So in 2016, I didn't make the Olympics, and in 2017 at Nationals, I fouled out of the competition. So I came in last when I probably should have come in top 3 and made my first world championships. So it was definitely tough trying to find the motivation and resilience to keep going.
Right.
But I found it. I have a really good support system of friends and family who always push me. And
Well, I definitely know your family is very supportive. I know that. I know that for a fact. Your brother Jake and your parents. Sam, an athlete at your level. All right, we've only had one other Olympian, Heather O'Reilly. We've had a couple of professional athletes. What motivates the super athlete like yourself? The fear of failure or the joy of success?
I'm not sure if it's either of those. For me, at least. For me, I just want to see where my potential really is. So obviously, like, failing hurts, but you do learn a lot from that, and I think you can take those lessons to create success. But the motivation that I have is just to see how good I can get, and I'll just keep pushing myself until I think I've reached that point, or the ship has sailed and I'm getting old and starting to fall apart.
Well, Al Order was what? Was he in his 30s? Do you recall?
He was pretty old by the time he was done. I'm not sure. I know he made like 4 or 5 Olympic games and has 4 golds.
All right. So that decision to leave Wall Street, I guess it's still going to be there somewhere once you finish up your athletic career, if you don't go into coaching or broadcasting. What's your thought?
It might be. I don't think I'm going back to the world of finance. I think, as was pretty evident out in Oregon, we're facing some pretty dire threats from climate change. So I think once I'm done with this, I'm going to try to dedicate my life to sustainability and environmental justice, and at least being a small piece trying to help for some positive change there.
Wow, how cool is that? That's a good press release, man. Good for you.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to the trials. Not what you're doing in Pennsylvania, but when you went out to Eugene, you were there for a week or so acclimating.
Yeah.
What was the
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
typical day of before the throwing event day?
Yeah, so actually the championship season is usually the easiest physically for all of us, because you can't really lift heavy because you want to be feeling pretty fresh. You can't throw a ton because you also want to be feeling fresh. So get out there. They had an open track at a community college nearby, so drive over there at like 11 a.m. or noon. take 15 throws or so, lift for like 30 minutes, and then do an hour or two of rehab work and mobility work, and then just kind of lay around. Like that's kind of the easiest part of the season for sure, because you're mostly just trying to not stress.
So how do you, I mean, I don't think you're a guy that sits around and plays video games or watch cartoons, or how do you keep yourself sharp and not being bored?
Honestly, I do, especially around this time, try to find some good video games that I like. And
But thanks, Sam. As I'm trying to say something intelligent here.
I'll read if I can, and meditation is a big part of what I do to stay mentally sharp and calm. So towards the end of the season, I'll try to. I usually try to meditate every day, but I try to stretch those meditations out a little bit longer, and sometimes
right.
one in a day.
Do you get coached on meditation and how to meditate? And
I just use Headspace. It's nothing special. It's just an app. So I just listen to that or do a meditation timer. Occasionally I'll like talk to some training partners about meditation techniques, but usually I just sit down and try to clear my mind.
Wow, it's interesting. From this point on, before you go to the Olympics, it's just maintaining and testing. Are you being tested constantly?
So probably for the next 2 or so weeks, I'll go a little bit harder than I had been the last couple of weeks in the weight room and with throwing. And then from that point until Tokyo, I'll start backing off and trying to feel fresh again. But I just want to be at a point where I can be at my best in Tokyo, and that's probably going to require a little bit more work on my end.
Right. The itinerary for Tokyo, do you have a brief? Are you allowed to tell us what it is, and what is that all about?
Yeah. So this Olympics is definitely going to be very different than past Olympics because of COVID. No international spectators. I think they're still debating over domestic spectators, but for the athletes, that means no opening ceremonies and no.
Whoa. I'm not going to be able to watch Sam Mattis walk in.
No, probably not.
Oh,
yeah.
That's got to me, that's disappointing, because that was one of my questions.
Yeah, that's definitely something I think everybody looks forward to. I think they're going to try to figure something out that's different than having all the athletes in one spot, but at least puts a bit of a spotlight on everybody so that they get their chance. But we're not going to be part of like the big opening ceremonies.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'll be getting to Japan a couple days after the opening ceremonies. So I'm there from July 25th until August 3rd.
Oh, so that's part of the itinerary. You're not going out to the 25th, right? Good.
Yeah.
Wow. How about nutrition and diet? How important is it for your level of training? And that's for the young athlete out there that wants to go to McDonald's and chow down some big Whoppers rather than a proper diet. What's your diet like?
I definitely used to be one of those young athletes who kind of eat whatever. But I think the last couple of years, one of the things that's changed on top of better mental preparation is just a bit more focus on diet. I'm not eating like perfectly balanced meals every day, but I try to get most of my food at a farmer's market near us. And the thing that I pay attention to most is just protein intake and making sure I get a lot of protein and it's good clean protein from good sources. But I snack a bunch, so not
But there's like a training table for you guys, right? Somewhere required? Yes, no?
I have a supplement sponsor, so they send me like a ton of protein, multivitamins, like anything I'll need. In Tokyo, they'll have stuff for us, but out here, I'm kind of on my own.
Really? Wow. Does mom come out and take care of you and bring some food, some home cooking?
The last year's been tough with COVID, but the last couple months since everyone's been vaccinated, they'll try to get out every couple of weeks and drop a few meals off.
Okay, good. If there's anything else about the training and the Olympics, a story you'd like to share to educate everyone, please just insert it. Role models. Sam, you are definitely a role model for a lot of young kids out there. And I know as a youngster, one of your role models was your dad, because he threw the hammer at William and Mary. And you so eloquently described what that was on your last interview. It was pretty cool because nobody knew what a hammer throw was. So besides dad and your immediate family, is there an athlete or a person out there that's really a role model for you, or a part of a role model?
Honestly, and this might be a weird answer, I don't think I've ever had a ton of role models. I think part of that is because when I was like 6 or 7, I really liked Sammy Sosa and Mark McGuire, and they got caught up in all the major leagues baseball steroid scandals. And I think I swore off role models after that point. So I just try to be the best person that I can be, as much as I can. Obviously, it doesn't work all the time. But I don't know if there's anyone who I just look up to unconditionally.
Wow, good for you. Derek Jeter says he's got a lot of role models. He takes a little bit of everyone, not just one. And that makes sense. Good story that I've heard you tell a few times. Share with the audience how you got involved in track, because you gave up 8th grade football, and you know the whole thing. You were a Churchill 8th grader running, and then share that with everyone.
Yeah, so originally I went out for the track team thinking that it was just going to keep me in shape for football and get me faster, and all I wanted to do was sprint, maybe jump a little. I guess I'd throw on the side, but that wasn't really going to be my focus. And then in our first hurdle practice, in like the first somewhat competitive race that we had, I tripped over the first hurdle. And at that point, the coaches had had enough of me thinking that I'm fast and said I'd be throwing, which made a lot of sense. And I've just been throwing every day since then, basically.
Right. And then your dad eventually had a net in the backyard and kind of coached you individually, and you were way ahead of everyone with the disc and the shot, not only in technique, but in dedication. But that's a pretty good story. I guess the moral of that story is you could fail in something as an athlete and just direct it somewhere else. Because I know I always wanted you to play football, but you know, hey, you had other intentions. Speaking of running, do you remember at a pep rally you raced Rob around the track?
Yeah.
I don't recall who ran that, but I was standing next to the football coaches, and they said, "What the? Wait a second! That was some race."
Yeah, I think what people might not have realized too is I didn't have time to run to the locker room and put shorts on, so I was running in jeans, and they ripped at the end of the race. So I was in class the rest of the day with ripped jeans on.
That's a famous memory. You two athletes, two of the better athletes, because you know Rob, he's playing in Europe or Mexico and playing hoop now, and you're at the top of your game. Yeah, that was one of my highlights about you guys. Another question. You know, I'm a pro East Brunswick guy. How do you think East Brunswick prepared you as a student athlete for Penn?
I think it did a great job preparing me. I think academically, I was definitely ready to get into Penn. Obviously, it's like a much harder adjustment going from high school to collegiate life, especially if you're doing athletics. But I think all the support that I got from the staff at East Brunswick with my athletic career and everybody pushing me to be the best that I can and trying to find me opportunities really helped me going into Penn and helped me kind of advocate for myself at Penn.
Yeah, you were very self-motivated. You definitely made a lot of sacrifices in high school and college, and certainly right now, being 27, you're 27, right?
Yep.
So you certainly sacrificed. Do you think you missed out on anything? Do you have any regrets about sacrifice you may have made in high school or college?
I'm sure I can find a few. It'd be nice to be making more money and be living a little more comfortably rather than living out in the middle of Pennsylvania. I've definitely missed some time with friends and family. But the people I'm closest with, I see as much as I can, and they know why I'm out here away from all of them. So I'll make up for that time on the back end, hopefully.
Well, two things I need to say about you. I mean, I always remember you playing, I guess it was the bass in the Christmas or the winter orchestra meeting. I mean, you played a couple of musical instruments besides being the best shot putter and discus thrower in New Jersey. Tell us about your musical career.
It definitely fell off a little after high school. I got a keyboard for myself, though, for college, and I still have it. I'll play occasionally. I haven't picked up the bass in a while, but my last roommate, Rudy Winkler, who actually just set the American record for the hammer throw and is going to Tokyo also, was an incredible bass player. So sometimes I'd mess around on his bass and play it poorly, and then he'd show me what to do.
That's cool. Do you got a shot at Carnegie Hall or no?
No, definitely not.
You never know. You never know.
Maybe playing one or two pieces correctly, like every 5 months.
You mentioned baseball before, and that's what this question is. And I'm a big Aaron Judge fan, and you've played baseball. So when you made your last throw, when you made that throw that it was it. Mm-hmm. It's like when Aaron Judge hits the ball and they do the bat flip and they sit and they admire it, or when the basketball player, he shoots that three, he knows it's going in. On that throw that put you into the Olympics, did you know it as soon as you left your hand?
That throw, I knew it was okay. I thought it would take better to make the team, honestly. But usually whenever I do have one of those throws that goes really far, I know immediately. You're just, I don't know, we take 200 throws or so every week in training. So like literally thousands of throws a year, plus drills, and then all the meets that we've been at. So the second it leaves your hand, you know from practice what the good throws feel like coming off of your finger. So once it leaves your index finger, you know if it's going to be a special throw.
Right. So it's just like the baseball, the guy hitting the sweet spot. So when you make that throw, that last throw to win the gold medal, are you going to do a dance or anything in the circle?
I don't know. I don't have anything planned right now.
Well, you shared a story about dancing at you shared a story about dancing at a track meet in high school. So you must have a few steps. No?
I don't know if I've got those moves still, but if I end up on the podium, I'll figure something out.
I'm sure you will. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Do you have any message for young kids out there that deal with success or failure, or any message you'd like to speak your piece, man?
Sure. I guess I would say, do what you want to do in life. I think for me, the last 5 years have been a mix of struggles and success. But I think both are valuable and both can teach you a lot about yourself and where you want to end up. And, along the way, maybe you'll find a passion or something that you're good at and can do for a living and that you'd rather do instead of just working for a corporate boss, 9 to 5 for the rest of your life. So just, find out what you want to do and go try to do it.
Every time I encounter you, you just impress me more and more. and that's good to see. Our country, we're in good shape with guys like you as being leaders. And I'm sure whatever you do after these Olympics and the future Olympics, you're going to be very, very successful. On behalf of East Brunswick, we can't thank you enough. I am pretty sure the mayor has a little message for you, the mayor of East Brunswick. But we're all wishing you the best and hoping whatever you do, you're happy with your performance. All right. Good luck to you, and we'll be watching.
All right. Appreciate it a lot. Thank you.
Hi, Sam. This is Mayor Cohen, and on behalf of the Township of East Brunswick, we could not be more proud of your success and wish you only the best of luck in Tokyo. We'll all be watching. And I could remember all the way back to my days when I was on the school board and actually saw you graduate. I just knew that we'd be able to expect big things from you. So again, on behalf of the township, we wish you the best of luck, and we just want to see you come back with the gold and give you a nice parade when you come back to East Brunswick a winner. And win or lose, we know that you're a winner, and we're intensely proud of everything that you've accomplished here, your accomplishments so far. Best of luck.
Thank you, Mayor Cohn. It's kind of funny to get good wishes from the mayor of the town that I grew up in, but that's really cool, and I'll try to make East Brunswick proud.
Wow, that was fun. You know, Sam Mattis, what a cool kid, an individual, and it was. I hope you enjoyed that show as much as I did. But I gotta thank Dave and Pags for pulling up the old videos of 10 years ago. And like I always said, thank you to EBTV, Dave and Pags and the crew, as they provide memories for these kids. And that was 10 years ago, and a lot what Sam said came true and is happening right now. So again, thank you to EBTV and to Sam, and I know we'll all be wishing him the best.